It's what we believe. We believe that America is going to be destroyed. We don't believe there's going to be a militia group that's going to rise up and destroy America, right? We don't believe that Black and Hispanic people are going to one day just say, you know what, we're just going to destroy America, right? We believe that America has enemies in this world, right? Just like every great country and empire that has ever existed has enemies, has rivals, right? Has people that seek to thwart it, take it down, etc., right? And we believe that China is there. We believe that Russia is a part of that, right? Amongst other countries we're getting ready to get to, which is called the BRIC. And we believe that they will take this country down pursuant to biblical prophecy. And we believe the cultivation of things like a hypersonic glider that could shoot a missile, right, are the mechanisms in which this will happen. And God talks about this. Start back from the top.
Isaiah 54:17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper.
No, 16. Salakia.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What was that?
It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy.
Right, and have created what?
The waster to destroy.
So God has appointed vessels for destruction, right? Vessels to do destruction, right? Shalom, Yana. Vessels to do destruction, to do destruction. And the vessels that he's made to do destruction, we're going to read about in Zechariah, the first chapter. Let's go there. Yeah, we can get that.
Zechariah chapter 1, verse let me get the point, verse 21.
Yana, Yabashim, go ahead.
Then said I, what? I'm sorry, verse 20. And the Lord showed me 4 carpenters.
The Lord showed you what?
4 carpenters.
4 carpenters, right? So when people think of carpentry, right, you think about building things of that nature, but carpenters also have demolition experience, right? They could also demolish something, right? Go ahead.
It says, what come these to do?
Well, what are these carpenters to do? Are they coming to build, or are they coming to destroy? We read in the previous prophecy about the waster, a destroyer. These carpenters are coming to do what? Let's find out. Read.
And he spake, saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head.
So before he even explains what the carpenters are coming to do, he shows 4 horns, right? Now, when you deal with the term of 4 horns in Scripture and in the ancient world, what you actually have to understand is when an altar is built, an altar has 4 horns, right? An altar has, well, let me show you. Right. So the Israelite altar. See that? So here, you see that? You see the 4 horns? Those 4 things that are sticking up? That's called the 4 horns. So now he's showing them 4 horns, right? Read on.
It says, then said I, what come these to do?
What are these things coming to do, right? Read on.
And he spake, saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head.
So these 4 horns have scattered Judah, so that no man have lifted up his head, right? They have broken down our people, right? They made our people ashamed of who they are, right? Through the doctrine of what? Something called white supremacy, right? They've scared us, they've beaten us, they've brutalized us, they've traumatized us, they terrorized us through killing us in the streets, through beating us, through enslaving us, through lynchings. The last 500 years, now nobody wants to lift up their head. Now black men don't want to walk around with dignity, right? We're afraid, right? We do something called code switching, right? Who knows what code switching is? Right, talking when you get around the white people, you talk in a way and you present yourself in a way that is not intimidating to them, that makes them comfortable.
Hey, Bob, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Talking like that, right? What I was going to say, Whack 100 had posted a situation he went through at a bank last week where they didn't want to give him his money, right? Because of how he looked. And that happens. And I had a situation where I went into the bank, tried to pull some money out, and the damn white bank manager, the Mexican bank teller, he was getting ready to give me my money. And the white bank manager came and whispered in his ear and came and told me that I need to make him feel comfortable with him giving me my money. That was cash available now. It wasn't a pending check, anything. It was available cash. I needed to make him feel comfortable. Oh, I said, if I came in here, white guy in a suit like you, would I still need to make you feel comfortable? It's not about race, man. Oh, no. Well, then what is it about? What's the problem?
What makes you feel uncomfortable?
What makes you? How am I making you feel uncomfortable?
Well,
I would understand if it was pending money. I would understand if I just dropped a check in there, and it seems a little fishy. It's all cold, hard cash. It was a cash deposit. I'm coming to make a cash withdrawal. Right?
You're banking while black.
You know what I'm saying? And there we go. We have these situations. That's what it means is scattered Judah, that no man may lift up the head. Keep going.
It says, but these are come to fray them,
to
cast out the horns of the Gentiles.
These are come to fray them. These carpenters' purpose is to demolish, to destroy the horns of the Gentiles, the four horns of the Gentiles, the strength of the Gentiles, right? What is the Gentile strength? Let's find out. Daniel 7, right? Because brother just asked, what are the four horns? I'm going to tell you what the four horns are. We're going to explain what the four horns are, right? Law said because of the beard plays a factor in it, right? That's why, what you think what Mike Vick said when he was trying to tell Colin Kaepernick, you need to cut that afro, right? You need to present yourself in a certain way. That is all a part of making white people feel comfortable, right? Cutting your afro. See what I'm saying? Well, why would I do something like that, right? Oh, so because when you wear the afro, especially when you go back to that time, the 60s and the 70s, right? Before they even called it afro, they called it a natural, right? When the brothers wore it, it was like a statement, right? It was like a statement of blackness, right? That there was unavoidable and unignorable. They don't like that. You got to go ahead and get rid of that. Go ahead, cut yourself low. Go ahead, groom. Don't have your beard. Don't stick out. Try to make sure you're blended, because the corporate standard that they have, that they've said, is what, right? Everything clean cut, everything low cut, clean, all of that, right? So you're defying that, and when you defy that, it makes a statement. So it's they try to make us, as subservient and as much in line with their agenda as absolutely possible. But that takes away your dignity when you got to do that, right? Real, bro, they go up to the job and they're not playing games with these crackers at the job. You see what I'm saying? No, a lot of brothers, like King Solomon, I know. I know he's not up there playing with Esau at all at the job. You know what I'm saying? And that don't mean you get in there and get crazy, right? Paul told you what, if at all possible, live peaceable with all men, right? Well, peaceable, but I'm not going to castrate myself for your comfort because you won't do it for me, right? They don't do it for you. They don't try to, castrate their whiteness if they're in a black setting so you can feel comfortable, right? So why would you do it in return, right? Why? Go ahead.
Daniel 7, which point you want me to get to?
The four horns.
Oh, Daniel chapter 7, verse 28. Okay, I'll start at verse 19. It says, then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, break in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns.
So it's this ferocious beast that represents a power of the Gentiles, of the other nations, of the non-Israelites, right? Go ahead.
And of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had great eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows.
Whose look was more stout than his fellows, right? So we have this group of proud people, and the proudest people on the earth, right? Hold that, Jeremiah 50. Look at that. Kasayad said, China's most, and Yabachimel Shabakatawa, the water keeping $2 drive alive. Kasayad says China's top grossing movie is them defeating the United States Army, right?
Yeah, they just released that.
So they you got to understand, their citizens, they're over there, and you're the bad guy. America's the bad guy, right? That's who they want to see taken down. So America goes and they create fictional bad guys all throughout their movies and their propaganda. China's making it very clear who their bad guy is. It is America, right? It's what they fantasize about.
It's called the Battle of Lake Changjin.
See what I'm saying? And that's why when you go to Iran, you go to these places, Russia, they have a sentiment. Their sentiment is very anti-American, right? That's their sentiment. That's their attitude. They chant about, right? Go ahead.
Jeremiah 50, which one are you looking for?
32, I think. 31 to 32.
Jeremiah 50 and 31. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord God of hosts. For thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. And the most proud shall stumble and fall.
That's that most proud. Babylon is the most proud, right? The American so-called white man has the most proud. That's why I say his look is more stout than his fellows. That's why the other European countries, they don't like him. They're not fond of him. They don't mess with him. Why? Because he has an air of pride about him that exceeds the one of the Englishman, that exceeds the one of the Frenchman, the one of the Spanish, the Portuguese, the Italian, etc. Right? Go ahead.
Malachi 4:1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahweh of hosts.
That's right. That's what's coming. Right? And that's what this glider is about. Go back to Daniel.
Okay. Daniel chapter 7 and which point?
Same point I just asked you to go to, the 4 horns. Yes, sir.
Okay. Daniel 7 and 20. And the 10 horns that were in his head. And
so, Shalom Bun Yasharala, you have to pay attention to things, brother. You're not paying attention. Nobody said the 4th beast was Babylon. Nobody said that. Nobody inferred that, right? So you're not paying close enough attention, right? Read that.
And of the 10 horns that were in his head.
So there's 10 horns, right? 10 kingdoms that symbolize and represent the power, right? The Western European power structure. Go ahead.
It says, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell.
So a new horn comes up out of the 10, right? Which takes down 3, right? 1 plus 3 is 4. What is the horn that comes up out of the 10, that comes up out of that Western European power structure and takes down 3 of the pre-existing horns? It's simple. It's America, right? Because America, in order to come into power, had to take down the English, the Spanish, and the French. 3 pre-existing Western European powers, right? Yashima, the new covenant certainly isn't now. Go ahead.
It says, came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things.
Right, and that's America. They pop it, right? They talk a lot. They have a lot to say. They present themselves and act as if they're just the vanguards of the world, right? That's that great man, that mouth speaking great things, right? So when you read about the 4 horns that the 4 carpenters are coming to fray, understand it's that power structure. These are, when you deal with NATO and the EU, which is what the beast is, that Western European power structure, you understand that the foremost military powers, right, that protect that whole North Atlantic Treaty Organization, it's going to be America, it's going to be England, right? It's going to be Spain, it's going to be France. That's who is the military backing of this beast of the Western European power structure. The rest of the armies involved in that pale in comparison to the aforementioned, right? So that's primarily who the BRIC, or Brazil, Russia, India, and China, is going to wage war against, with emphasis on Russia and China, right? With those large armies, right? Coupled with Iran, North Korea, etc. Right? Go ahead.
It says, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against
that
them.
Same horn made war with the saints over here in the Americas, right? And prevailed against us, has defeated us, and had us at the bottom of their society, right? As long as their society has existed. See what I'm saying? Go ahead.
That's Babylon, that the little horn. The little horn in Daniel 7 is the whore that rides on the scarlet colored beast in Revelation. So, brother was saying that.
That's right. Back to Zechariah.
Zechariah chapter 8, verse Zechariah chapter 1, verse 21. Then he said, what come these to do? And he spake, saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head. But these are come to fray them, to cast out the horns of the Gentiles, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah, to scatter it.
Right? To scatter it. So Brazil, Russia, India, and China, or the BRIC, the big 4, the 4 carpenters, they are who the Most High pursuant to prophecy, is raising up against the Western European power structure, which rallies around the horror of Babylon, America. Understanding that when you read about a hypersonic glider being developed that could fire missiles, now we understand even deeper about the prophecy in Isaiah 54 with the Most High putting the spirit on these scientists to create and develop this weaponry to enable the four horns to do his work. Back to Isaiah. Yashamai, know the least unto the greatest does not know God. What are you talking about? Right? That's silly. Let's go ahead.
Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work.
For what?
For his work.
For God's work. God's work is the destruction of Babylon. Right? Hold that. Revelations.
This is the Lord has something.
You don't drop it though. I'm going back there. Right? Burn her with fire.
Oh, okay.
This is the Lord's work.
You know the 10 horns hate the whore? Revelation 17:16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
See that? So that's the inevitable judgment of America, is it being utterly burned with fire. That's the judgment of God, right? And how that's going to occur, right, is going to be led by the big four. But what's crazy is its own allies plan to turn on this place. That's also going to happen. We see signs of that now. We see plenty of signs of dissension amongst the Western European powers today. Right? Go ahead.
It says, for God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. That's the work that you're talking about. And to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God should be fulfilled. That's a cut for free will, though. For God has put in their hearts to fulfill his will.
See that? The Most High controls everything and everyone. And his will is the destruction of this place. Right? Get Revelation 16. Why is his will to destroy this place?
Revelation 16:5. And I heard the angel of the water say, thou art righteous, O Lord.
You're righteous, Yahweh. Right? Yahweh Tazadak. Right? Go ahead.
Because it says, thou art righteous, O Lord, which are and was and shall be, because thou hast judged thus.
Thou hast judged thus. Because of the way that he's going to judge this place, we should praise God for his righteousness, right? Here's why. Go ahead.
For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets.
It say what?
They have shed the blood of saints and
prophets. Look at what has happened in this country to Black and Hispanic people for 500 years, right? Every day people, everybody had ate yesterday. Everybody got so fat they had to unbutton their goddamn pants to sit down yesterday. Right? In commemoration of a genocide of the North American Indian, right? And the whole country did that, right? All these woke people, they did that yesterday, right? A lot of woke people did that yesterday, right? So, of course, God wants to burn this place with fire. Just Thanksgiving alone is reason enough to burn this place with fire. But wait, there's more. Right? I know everybody's happy. Ahmaud Arbery, they was all found guilty of murder. Beautiful. Great. But for every Ahmaud Arbery, there's 1,000 brothers that did not get justice, that were murdered and their killers walked scot-free. That right there is reason to burn this damn place with fire. Right? What about all the free labor? Right? What about free labor for centuries? That built this place, that set this place up, that made this place what it is, right? And the people whose ancestors gave that free labor don't stand to benefit. Of course, this place got to be utterly burned with fire, right? So go ahead.
It says, for they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy.
Right, for they are worthy. Right, so that is why God wants to do this. This is why God is going to raise up the Brazilian, the Russians, the Indian, the East Indians, the Chinese people, right? Who are, various people, Edom, Moab, Elam. He's raising them up for this purpose because of what America has done to Black and Hispanic people, right? because of this last 500 years of hell, this place is worthy of just being wasted totally. That's what this place is worthy of. Precept.
Revelation 18, I'll start at verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works.
Mm-hmm.
And the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double.
So give this place needs twice the judgment, right? Whatever we got, whatever we experience, this place needs to experience double that, right? Double that. And part of that judgment is going to be, of course, thermonuclear fire. That's part of the judgment. It's not all the judgment, because another part of that judgment is free labor as well, a return of free labor. That's a part of the judgment as well. And that's coming to this, not to this place, but that's coming to the earth, right? They're free labor. They owe, right? They owe. And it will not be paid in the fiat currency that's losing value every day. This currency here is losing value every day, right? So that's not what we want in return. What we want in return is what we gave: blood, sweat, tears, lives, bodies, labor, right? That's what we want in return. And we want twice as much of it as we gave to you. That's what God says, right? So go ahead. Back to Isaiah.
It said, Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created a smith that bloweth the coals in the fire.
I want everybody to do this, right? First, Yashamai, how about I give you a link, right?
Yeah, even begging for it.
Yashamai has?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to deal with that. I'd love to deal with that. You know, this is this is a bread and butter, right? That's bread and butter, pimp. We're gonna deal with you right after this, right? Fourth beast is the Roman Empire, right? And the Roman Empire is alive and well today. I want to make that clear. I was getting ready to make a point, though. This dude has derailed my point. Read that. What verse you read last?
Isaiah 54:16.
Read that again.
Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire.
Damn, man.
Her, she ordered you.
Yeah. It's there's a point I was getting ready to make. There's a point I was getting ready to make, and this incredible human being is derailed my point. Thanks a lot, for you trying to leech off of somebody else's platform and totally just derailing the conversation. We're talking about the prophecies of God. Thanks a lot. God, man, I can't stand some of y'all. There's a link though, Yashamai. All right, you want it, you got it. Right, good precept from SICARRI Philly. That's Thyar on that channel. Jeremiah 50:25. Yahweh has opened his arsenal and brought out his weapons of his wrath, for the sovereign Yahweh Almighty has work to do in the land of the Babylonians. He's got work to do. He getting ready to do a work. You know who's going to do that work? The Russians, right? The Chinese, etc. Right? You know what your work is to do, Black and Hispanic man? Your work is not to get in a car and run people over. Okay, that's not your work. Okay, your work is not to try to storm the White House. All right, your work is to keep the law, statute, commandments, and faith in the only begotten Son of the Most High God. That's our work, to love our fellow Black and Hispanic man and woman and child. And when we do that, it's a beautiful thing. When we do that, it's going to chain react everything else, right? Coincidentally, we're not going to directly contribute at all to it, but in us doing what we're supposed to do and loving each other, right? You're going to see the Most High God work, and the Most High God send his angels around this earth to begin to make things happen. So it's your job to keep these commandments, love your brother, love your God, right? Follow the instructions of your king, who you call Christ Yahushua, right? That's all we have to do, literally, right? Yeah, look, that guy's out of his mind, right? That brother is out of his mind. Right? We got to teach our people. We have to teach our people our identity, give it to them, and be examples and shining lights and show our people how to live these commandments, how to live this culture, right? That's what we have to do. And that's it. All right? That is absolutely it.